Hello learners, in the second session of seasonal marketing in tourism, the focus is to understand and analyze the importance of market segmentation for seasonal marketing, to learn about the profile of various clients in off-season, and to study the approaches for managing seasonality at the destination. In the previous video, we have learned that all the tourism businesses today face a common challenge, popularly known as seasonal changes. Businesses are in a constant cycle of high season and low season, and to survive the seasonal impact, we need to work on off-season marketing strategies. We all know that many tourism businesses today are dependent on high season for profits, and there are low margins during off-peak seasons. During high seasons, the tourism service providers experience too much of tourist inflow at the destination, which force them to work overtime. Therefore, the need of the hour is that the tourism industry must look into the techniques to create demand for providing tourism products all the year round. Instead of sitting together and waiting for the seasonal tourists to come around for the next season, they should use this time to interact with the prospective tourist and design marketing strategies for the promotion of business throughout the year. Now, in this context, market segmentation plays a very important role. Market segmentation is a strategy which is frequently adopted to manage the differences of demand for goods and services in all sectors. The underlying logic is that the group of tourists with similar characteristics are likely to demonstrate similar needs and therefore respond better to specifically designed marketing programs. This technique has also become prevalent in tourism research, and we adopt this strategy to understand the tourist behavior, the psychological attributes of the tourist, such as tourist attitude, brand image towards a destination, social demographic characteristics. So, in simple terms, segmentation provides a common theme and a thread to a mass of individuals. Segmentation allows the tourism marketer to be more relevant by understanding the core characteristics, the behavior of prospective tourists, and designing and delivering marketing messages which are likely to be in terms of their belief systems. Increased relevance is going to lead to higher conversion rates, which will ultimately lead to more sales at the destination. Now, there are a number of ways in which we can segment the tourist market. Broadly speaking, though, there are various ways, but we focus on certain type of data to segment the tourist. The first data is related to demographic data, which includes the gender composition, behavior, and values. These are the characteristics of the person over which an individual has no control. The second part of segmentation is lifestyle, which can be influenced. These includes geographical location, net household income, the number of holidays a person takes during a year, and other factors. The third approach of segmentation is behavior. In behavior, we identify the tourist intentions through observed behavior. This could be propensity to search for a particular tourist product, how often they check their emails, and what are their likes on social media. Value. When we look at this, we look at the worth of the tourist. We use the previous data to understand the destinations visited, how frequently the tourist undertakes a trip, and ultimately how profitable they are to the business. These are the strategies which directly influence the demand. We have studied earlier about institutional factors, price, and also problems related to overcrowding during high seasons. So when we need to unevenly spread seasonality, we need to take into consideration these demographic factors. Now let us study the clientele for off-season tourists. The first and the important clientele is long-haul tourists. Global trends indicate that long-haul origin market has a lot of seasonal impacts. In many countries, the institutional factor which influences the pattern of holiday taking results in seasonal patterns, which can create problems of seasonality in a number of countries. For example, many US visitors to Europe are attracted on the basis of European culture and heritage rather than its beach resorts. Therefore, the weather factor is not a very important issue, and such tourists are regarded as a bonus for the hoteliers. Whereas in the southern hemisphere countries, where weather and cultural institutional factors lead to peak holiday season in the month of January and February, long-haul trips from South America, particularly Argentina and Brazil, to Europe represent a small but an increasingly important market segment. North Americans travel to Europe for its heritage, and they tend to take long breaks. Therefore, this suggests that this market offers potential for boosting arrivals and revenue in the shoulder months of June and September. So after the long-haul tourist, the second tourist is a business traveler. The business traveler play an important role in easing some of the effects of seasonal incident of holiday taking, since business activities with various countries are generally planned during off seasons, and they also reduce the peak during high seasons. Business travel represents the largest market for hotel accommodation. Many business travelers have their journey in response to economic or business environment, and a large portion of their business trip is related with conventions, conferences, and incentive market. This MICE market also plays a very important role to reduce seasonality. Within the European countries, Germany and UK are the most important principal markets for outbound business travel. The international market for conferences, meetings, trade exhibitions, seminars has become very competitive over the last decade. The importance of this market is both in terms of high per capita spending of delegates. It is also a device for increasing off-season occupancy rates and is also recognized by a number of countries. The high revenue generation that comes from expenditure on accommodation, food, beverages, gift, as well as the expenditure on local business, shopping activities and support services are significant. The increasing competition and complexity of organizing conferences and seminars has seen a tremendous growth in recent years with the help of professional conference organizers, that is PCOs, and destination management companies, DMCs. The ground handling agents who specialize in catering for accompanying groups also benefit. The most popular month for international meetings are the shoulder month of October and September. The conference market is particularly important to hotel industry as it increases occupancy rates during the off-peak seasons. Many early conference centers were not well developed, and they were basically adaptation of building constructed for other purposes and had little relationship with modern facilities. But today we find huge conference centers with exhibition centers, halls for trade shows, meeting rooms, full range of audiovisual facilities and communication centers to handle the needs of major international conferences. The conference and the incentive travel market is the most competitive and sought after market in the tourism trade. Many major cities across various nations have built funded centers for holding high profile international meetings. Some countries also offer financial incentives to attract investments and aid to private operators to build conference centers. The national meetings are also held across the various states, and these centers are attached to hotels. So as a result, they provide substantial off-season business to supplement the tourism activity. After this market, the next important market is the youth market. The youth market has an above an average growth rate and represents over 17% of the world travel. As a result of educational holiday and discount travel prices, the youth market is again skewed towards the summer season. The youth market are relatively price conscious due to low budget finances and therefore are tempted by incentives with respect to destinations and date of departure. Many youth segments have a preference for off-season months also due to the low cost and the promotional strategies. They have an increasing propensity to travel and a tendency to take longer holidays, and it's growing on in a big way. The next important segment is a segment for senior citizens. Senior citizens are a multi-segmented market sector which reflect the varied physical and intellectual characteristic of the tourist. Many senior citizens prefer to travel in group. They prefer to take tourist holidays and have some specific general characteristics and preferences. They enjoy natural attractions, cultural activities, beautiful countryside, good architecture, interesting cities, and excellent cultural attractions. Peace and quiet is also considered important, and good weather is also appreciated. Various facilities such as well-adapted wheelchair, access or extra steps to board coaches, and comfortable transportation and friendly accommodation are some of their preferences. Accommodation located close to villages and towns where less of public transport is used, availability of fast medical assistance is also important for elderly tourists. They prefer off-season holidays because they get quality in terms of facilities such as security, hygiene, functioning of the equipment should be maintained, and they want complete information about the trips and its itinerary. In particular, long travel by coaches is not welcome, and they prefer number of stopovers. We must take adequate care to ensure that they travel with an organized tour operator and they have ample opportunity to mix and socialize with their fellow members. As the number of people between 55 and 65 increase, there is likely to be a growth in the demand for active holidays. Though these tourists will be less energetic compared to the young population, there is an increased demand for holiday for educational excitement as well as for health reasons. Now, after understanding this, let us move to the other market segments. The market for holiday for the disabled or the specially abled is also important in case of seasonality. This group also has a preference for off-season holiday and is generally price conscious. This holiday taking pattern is expected to come up in a big way in the coming years. People's propensity to travel is also related to their income and socio-economic group. If we consider the family life cycle, it is clear that households with children over the age of 6 are more likely to travel than those with younger children, whereas households with no dependent children are going to have much more propensity to travel. There are other segments such as empty nesters, such as couples with no children, people above 45 whose children have grown up and have left the household, and number of other segments in the market. Markets can be also segmented in in relation to special interests such as clubs, association and affinity groups. We have a trend towards special interest weekends and gateway breaks. These are used to spread demand into the off-season. Number of tourists who have a specific hobby or are enthusiastic and are willing to take trip during off-peak seasons are also welcomed. This involves marketing the package in such a way and identifying the specific target groups through clubs and societies, or to use direct marketing techniques such as face-to-face presentation, mail shots or advertising in specialized magazines. In the recent years, with the rapid growth in short break holidays over the last decade, special interest holiday is increasingly featured as one of the activities which is promoted by hotels and resorts. The hotels and the resorts are involved in theme-based dinners, or they celebrate special events and festivals. For example, in UK there is a trend to visit the old industrial towns and promoting industrial heritage tours, where the tourists would like to look at the existing clothing factories, make use of the various Indian facilities there, and there are breaks associated with Indian culture and heritage. So on a broader scale, the national tourist authorities have to focus on such tourists. They should promote food and wine attractions, art and culture of that area. Another important aspect is pricing, promotion and discounts. Pricing information should be such that they promote the activities during off-season and help the tourists to move and plan vacations. Pricing has a crucial role to play. If discounts are offered, then people will be persuaded to take holidays, and they can plan their holidays to save money during off seasons. We can sell that holidays could be too expensive during the peak season, and the same holiday can become affordable during the off season. This will help us in spreading the demand away from the peak months. Any financial incentives in terms of seasonality, discounted travel accommodation and such activities must be promoted to have a visible impact. The greater the awareness of special off-peak promotions, the greater is the impact of off-peak pricing and promotion. Pricing and promotion programs will only have an effect if there is a high level of accessible information through various media. When promotional budgets are constrained and we are not able to promote off-seasons discount, then it affects target marketing. To improve the targeting, we must come up with various packages which are attractive and can be made popular. The next important aspect is promotion of second holiday concept. The growing importance of second holiday and short break market can also help in extending seasonality, but they also increase the level of competition at a destination which focus on seasonal market segments. So the packages should be designed in such a way that they incorporate additional features or eye-catching elements. Value is often added to these packages through free admission to local attractions, specific meals, free cocktails, etc. And they can be accompanied by a number of short-term measures. The next market is short break market. This is an interesting market and is one of the fastest growing market segment, where the increase in disposable income, extended leisure time and availability of weekends have contributed to the growth and development of a favorable prospect for such a holiday. The spread of short breaks across the year is considerably better than the longer vacations and are helping us to spread the capacity utilization. The promotional and the product development efforts of most tourist operators are aimed at short break holiday makers, which focus primarily on the domestic market. Now, this helps in the promotion of domestic tourism, which also indirectly contributes to minimizing the negative impacts of seasonality. Though international short breaks are also becoming increasingly important, in particular the city breaks. The international promotional strategy should focus on increasing the number of shoulder seasons and to increase the arrivals in off seasons. In this context, the timing of advertisement is very important and is influenced by the local attractions. For example, advertising in February in certain markets will capture more potential holiday makers which are likely to travel in the early shoulder season, while waiting until March or April, so where we capture only those who are intended to travel in peak seasons. So in this market, timing of decision making will also depend on the source market, the type of holiday that is promoted. For example, Italian holiday makers decide on vacations, destinations and timings near to the month of departure than the French or the English, while decisions regarding long-haul travel are taken even earlier than the trip is planned. So we have to take into consideration the cross-cultural variations also. Then we have the incentive travel market. Marketing to incentive travel trade is different from normal marketing. It has more similarities to sale of an industrial product. Important elements of marketing incentive holiday packages are promotion of high-grade promotional literature, inclusion of special unique selling points such as world famous golf course or a special banquet or a historical setting. We can also target affinity groups. In this context, the European market is very crucial. Those who wish to travel outside the peak season. This market is very price sensitive and travels preferably in April, May, June and September. In terms of international markets, there are specific strategies designed by the travel agents. These tourists tend to take their main holiday in their own country and then travel with an affinity group for a second or a shorter holiday, usually for a week, which could be as short as 4 days also. Affinity groups may include retired people. They may include trade union groups and associations and senior members of government. Now let us understand the role of regional spread. Spreading tourists geographically within the peak season is another strategy for addressing the congestion problems associated with peaking of demand. Such a strategy involves a development and promotion of number of attractions. So while this spreading takes place within a small geographical region, the potential benefits are many. First of all, when the attraction is overcrowded in the peak period, the development of alternative attraction will help us to spread tourism and relieve the burden on the main attraction. The new attraction is also developed and is one of the potential source for targeting the tourist. For example, in number of countries such as Spain, this strategy is used where they have spread twin attractions to promote clients' satisfaction. Geographical spreading of the tourists at the national level is also used as a strategy to maintain overall tourist arrivals. Now let us discuss one of the important concepts, that is transportation strategies. Transportation congestion resulting from seasonal peak impose lot of cost, including operational costs, disruptions, and delays to journey. Passenger transport market are characterized by hourly, daily, weekly, and seasonal peaks and changes in demand. Daily or weekly peaks are related to pattern of working times and days during the week. The pattern and the intensity is also influenced by the route, geographical area, and the transport mode. The example is of air travel, where a lot of cost is associated, and during off-season, many regional airports remain underutilized. So we need to develop a strategy so that we can spread the tourist arrival and cater to special interest tourists. We require in this context commitment from the air transport carriers and tour operators. The road vehicles are also used as one of the main form of holiday transport, and we find road congestion a major problem during the peak season. So we need to come up with packages where we spread the holiday trip. We take into consideration the departure days and also the heavy flow of traffic during weekends at the destination. The next important aspect is the role of stakeholders. The travel agents have a most important role to play in improving the seasonal spread of tourism. They play a central role in identifying the target groups who can holiday and in a less popular times of the year. Travel agents develop suitable low-season products and put them together in the form of itinerary to promote attractive holiday packages. Therefore, governments should also provide incentives for the development of off-season products, marketing of such products to a global level, providing assistance and information to operators, help them to design promotional strategies at the global level, facilitate them to coordinate across the globe for the development and marketing of attractions related to off-season packages, encouraging innovative tourism products to be accessible during the off-seasons. Now let me give you an example of United States versus Europe for the better understanding of the topic. Let me give you an example of United States versus Europe. Based on the years of marketing to Europeans, we have learned that the market is exceptionally slow between July and August, when many residents are taking their annual month-long vacation. In the same way, the US tend to have a significant drop off in response rates between November and January. So these times we should encourage remarketing and repeating campaigns. We must develop fresh promotional messages. There are differences in seasonality with regard to the Americans and European travel behavior. In terms of Europe, the customers respond better to relationship marketing activities such as formal invitations and phone calls, whereas the Americans, they look forward to techno aids such as emails. Americans tend to participate more in webinars compared to Europeans who prefer to read reports and come up with decision making. So we need to take into consideration the type of marketing initiative that each region prefer, and we need to develop the marketing campaign according to the preferences. After understanding this cross-cultural behavior, we also have to take into consideration the month for the launch of the campaign. While deciding on a new tourism product campaign, we need to take into consideration the seasonal factors and the budget cycle. So again, there are variations. It depends on the nation calendar as well as the festivals and the seasonal patterns related to holiday days in a week. For example, Saturday versus Tuesday, day and time also influence the seasonality, because marketers are searching for an optimal day where they can grab the customer attention. Various researchers have proved that the best practices for business to business email marketing is to send it either on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Whereas we must avoid Monday and Friday for business to business marketing. But if you are marketing for business to consumer, you may consider Friday and a Saturday as one of the good days for launching your ad campaigns, where your customers are likely to make more purchases over the weekend. So all these indicate that we need to plan our strategy. We can conclude that the seasonality pattern results from interaction between the demand factors, which are associated with natural seasons, vacation traditions, holidays, changing preferences, and the supply side of the attraction, comprising of again the geographical conditions, the socio-cultural events, the opportunities, and the various resources. So when we take into consideration both the demand and the supply side of the tourism industry, we need to design certain strategies and match the demand and supply to mitigate the impact of seasonality. To reduce this negative effects of seasonality and to focus on generation of profit, the policymakers should determine the optimum degree of seasonality that is dependent upon the carrying capacity of each destination. So we cannot have one uniform strategy. We require different strategies and actions which are related with both direct monetary instruments such as tourism taxes, tourism visa, and other aspects related to entry permits, and non-monetary ones related to the various facilities. So strategies need to be redistributed, developed in such a way that both the demand and supply match and there is a product differentiation so that we can promote new attractions and events. The policymakers should encourage domestic tourism in shoulder season and off season. They must design strategies to focus on new areas and segments, promote special products, and understand that tour operators require their continuous support in managing the business operations. Therefore, what we have learned in this lesson is that seasonality is one of the important factors in the promotion of destination. As a tourist marketer, we must understand that to reduce the impact of seasonality and to promote tourism throughout the year, we need to look into new segments. These segments can be developed and special products can be marketed to these segments. We have learned in this video that we have markets such as long haul travelers market, we have senior citizens market, we have youth market, we have the market associated with meetings and conferences. So according to different countries and the seasonal patterns associated with travel trade, we need to evenly spread the activities. Our role is to promote tourism with a responsible approach. We want that the activities should not have an adverse impact on the environment. The sustainability should be maintained and the carrying capacity at the destination is widely managed throughout the year. Therefore, the local residents, the tourism stakeholders, and the government, all three are supposed to come up with destination-specific strategies. The role of a travel agent or a tour operator is to market the destination throughout the year, to offer discounts and prices, design initiatives and campaigns so that new segments can be attracted. We need to promote responsible tourism with an objective of providing employment and economic growth to the people which are basically involved in tourism promotion. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Thank you.